Report to the company building immediately to sell your scrap metal and other goods.
New crew means new supplies. Cuts into our quota a bit, but we had a little surplus anyway, so we should be even still. Always made me wonder how profitable it really was to fire people at the first missed quota, but I guess I'm not an economist and I've never been fired myself, so I don't know what it entails. Maybe they can come back after a few months or something. Turnaround's pretty high, so it must be like one of those online retailers. Kind of feels that way. Desperately grabbing items to feed a customer you never get to see, who seems to want everything, and even the weird stuff, for reasons you don't know, and then they complain your ass is on the line even if you're literally fighting monsters to try and get them their little desk fan. I got River a nice flashlight, and gave him the shovel. Marek seemed more interested in mechanic stuff, so he took a green flashlight and a walkie, and Cassie volunteered to be behind the camera. I haven't been out very much, but it's only fair, I can't avoid it forever. River was kind though, they put a paw on my shoulder and said they'd look after me if I kept close, and their smile was really nice, and their paw was very big and kind of heavy, but in a good way, so I believed them, and got ready even though I was nervous. We went to offense today. As the dropship came in and we heard that jingle, Marek started talking about where the tune first came from. He wouldn't tell me the original title of the music, but it's kind of haunting how things we take for granted come from weird and dangerous places. Kind of like the company. We work, we get paid, and we don't really know where it came from or what it's done to get to where it is. There are probably people who know better not to work here. I can't say it's good. The more you know, the worse everything gets, even silly little songs that have been around since before you were born. I only knew it from ice cream trucks. But I guess knowing means you can make things better, right? Try to change it in little ways. Like giving people nicer flashlights. I gave Marek my yellow one. River seemed to know where to go, so they mostly led. We all kind of walked together in truth, moving as quickly as we could. It's funny how the masks make our ears floppier almost, because of how the rubber works, probably. Cassie's rather chatty on walkie. I could hear her telling us that everything was clear, which was nice. But the real danger comes inside, and at night. I wanted to be close to River and Marek. As soon as we went inside, Marek went left. I could hear his footsteps disappear along the walkway. River started walking ahead, pushing through a door. I think the bleep of our scan sounds like a cat waking up. Brrr? I like the idea of pressing a little cat that looks around and tells you that there's something nearby. But all I could really see was River's back and legs, and the tied up bundle of their tail and the suit annex behind him. I hope it's not too tight on them. I couldn't see through their mask very well, but I could hear their breaths. Calm, controlled, strong. I felt like I was holding mine inside me as we wandered around. I tried to peek along branching paths to check for nasty things. There was the intermittent warning alarm of a mine, and I swear I heard something rumbling as we passed through a big steel door. That made me jump a little and bump against River. I felt embarrassed, but they turned to look at me to check I was okay, and I felt even hotter. I swear my mask was fogging up. I asked if there was a steam leak, and they said no, and I said, oh, haha, I must just be getting warm. Then they asked if I needed to go back, and just as I was about to say no, I wanted to stay there with them, Cassie radioed in to tell us there was something to pick up on the scanner, and she probably saved my life, to be honest. Wonder how they see inside. Like, do they have maps and radars and things? Does the company have an existing map of what they need and can pick up? Kind of makes me think these are old company properties if they already know the layout and can hack into turrets and things, because it would be a heck of a coincidence to just do that with random programs. Like that movie where the alien ship can get a computer virus from Earth. It's very silly. Anyway, we went in to get it. Some kind of drive shaft, I think. Of course, River could pick it up with one paw and put it over their shoulders, so I took over walkie duty. There were other shelves with boxes of records and maybe some plastic tubs with indistinct warning labels on them, but none of it was deemed necessary, so I left it. And I'd need 2 paws, so I just picked up a soup ladle instead. Marek radioed in to say he was heading back as he couldn't carry anymore. I think I could hear his footsteps overhead. I think it's funny when I see pallet jacks inside a room with no purpose for them. How did it get there? What's it used for? Did they build a room around it? Probably the age of the factory and creatures doing weird things. Those little bean-shaped hoarder bugs take things all over the place, so it's probably one of them. You don't need a pallet jack for filing. We went a little further, got a spray bottle, potted cactus, I couldn't really carry any more, but I found a poker chip that River told me I could push into their pocket, and I was so nervous that I dropped it instead. When I went down to pick it up, River's paw stopped me from getting up again. "Don't move," they said. I froze. I was behind a stack of boxes, so I didn't know what it was. Suddenly I hear this huge roar and a thundering set of fleshy footsteps, and Cassie screams something down the walkie. River dived out of the way as something very large careened past me. Before I even knew what was going on, I heard River yell and slam the drive shaft into this monster. I managed to get my flashlight onto it, and I've never seen a thing made of so much upper body and teeth. It had this weird pink skin and a shark face, but with 3 extra flappy jaws on the side of its face. A thumper. River circled around it, hitting it with a big metal crank, but the creature was so heavy, so strong, it looked like it barely felt it. It tried to lash at them, but they jumped away and it charged again. They managed to use a shelf to jump over it and hit its face into the wall, but then it turned. It was looking right at me. I almost dropped my flashlight. I saw River moving, but the thumper was already running. God, it was so big and fast. Thank fuck my legs moved by themselves. In a panic, I threw the cactus, which would have been worth $75 if I cashed it in, but I watched it enter the red and gaping maw of the huge creature. It bit down on it as I leapt out of the way, and it let out a harsh, whining cough as it got caught in its throat. It fell on its side and tried to use one of its big thumping arms to prise the prickly thing out of its mouth. River hauled me up by the arm and took me as fast as we could, paws slamming the walkway with steps reverberating into the cavernous halls till we reached the door, finally. I don't even feel that we'd been in there an hour, but it was past 3 when we saw daylight. We stood outside the tarnished double doors and caught our breath for a few seconds, before I felt the paw on my shoulder again. River turned me slightly. I could see their golden eyes behind the mask's foggy visor, alight with concern. "You all right?" they asked me. I nodded and thanked them. "You did good," they said. "Nice throw on the spike bush there." "Cactus," I replied. They looked like they wanted to say something, but smiled and let out a soft laugh instead. I could hear the air snorting from their snout through the mask vent. Maybe they already knew what a cactus was. "Come on, let's get back." I hadn't even seen the pings of Marek's haul as he entered the ship. I've no idea what we got to. Cassie was talking, asking if we were all right. I finally squeezed the button and let her know we were safe and on the way back. Walking to the ship was a mix of pride and shame. I was glad to do something in the heat of panic, but it felt like River did most everything to keep us safe. They're very strong. I saw the sun reflecting off their mask, glinting off the drops of Thumper's saliva that flecked their hazard suit, bright as an orange sunset. The drive shaft, now a little bent, hung across their shoulders like it was nothing but a trivial broom handle, which I'm glad it wasn't, because they're not worth very much, accenting the swell of their strong chest and arm muscles that strained a little under the suit's confinement. I clutched my poker chip, rubbing it softly in my paw as I looked at them. When we got back, it was business as usual, really. We don't have to go back to Gordian yet, which is nice. We leant on the walls and ate our rations, exchanging stories of what we saw, while Cassie talked about things we missed. Felt bad about that too, a little, but to be honest, the company could do more to help us do the job we need. Taking tools out of our money and not even making them suitable for the job is kind of taxing. But, you know, it's a living. Maybe we can get a table sometime. Marek ate on his bed, which effectively meant he was eating on all the beds except Cassie's, with the way crumbs worked, but after the scare with the thumper, I think I can handle a few wayward pieces of biscuit and freeze-dried sandwich. We turned in fairly early, as tomorrow is last quota day and we want to get a good start. I can feel River breathing beneath me. They really do push the bunk up. I kind of like it. I didn't thank them properly for saving me. I was a little embarrassed. But I want to do something, somehow. I'm going to put the poker chip in their paw. There we go. Night.